Hey, I just did an interview with Michelle Lightworker, so you can see that on my page about enlightenment, activation and fear. So once that is published, I will share the link on my page too. So we just spoke about keeping it real if you didn't catch it, which, you know, I'm all about. So I wondered what I was going to talk about this morning, as always, but then I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm listening. Am I listening? Listening to what's coming through. So, yeah, I've put on the listening. We are in the ear chakras after all, and I kind of really wanted to speak how to tell intuition from ego, and I just noticed I spelled that wrong. Typo in there. So how to tell intuition from ego is like a, you know, like how deep do you want to go into something like that? But, you know, it comes into a point of, you know, like, I don't think that, okay, so how to tell intuition from ego is a choice that you make, right? And it might sound really simple and it might sound confusing at the same time. And obviously I go into depth in my Trust Intuition course of how to tell, you know, how do you tell if it's intuition or something else, right? And, you know, with the experiences that I had in the past, you know, several months, it's kind of like looking at, you know, when we get intuition, and I spoke about this yesterday in my blog, that, you know, like we can have intuition all the time, or we do have intuition all the time, but choosing to listen to it is a whole nother scenario, right? And ultimately your intuition is there to keep you on path. Your intuition is there to awaken your life purpose. Your intuition is there to evolve yourself into the highest level, you know, that humanity is going to. And I actually just read an article this morning which was very interesting because I haven't turned this around. I have a feeling I'm going to do cards today, so if you want a card, let me know. And this is crooked, it's annoying me. Okay, just flip this around. There we go. It's better. Okay. Because selenite has been coming to me a fair bit, right? There we go. Selenite out of the liquid crystals. And it's the spiritual guidance, yeah? And this is so much, where is that? Selenite, I don't know, like I've got two big selenite lamps beside my bed, and I've always liked selenite, but, you know, a crystal or an animal, spirit guide or something always comes to you at certain times of your life to help you through certain spaces, right? And selenite has been, you know, come to me, and it was interesting because it was probably about 2 weeks ago that it started to make its presence known, because if you follow my work, well, you know that like animal spirit guides, crystals, crystals all have beings. Like pretty much everything can have a being, but everything is living and everything is alive. And, you know, this spiritual guidance, it says here, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because, alright, so it says, if selenites come to you today, there are beings with information that is ready and available for you on the inner plane. This information and guidance is relevant to current circumstances and situations, as well as your spiritual growth and very often your purpose on earth. It is worth noting that selenite only comes when the ability to receive the information from spirit has already been mastered. So really interesting, because I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm actually awaiting my selenite to arrive because I want to take a dose of it. Well, a thingo of it, whatever it's called. And in like the article that I read this morning was, I don't know, because selenite talks about this, I don't know, is it called the celestial beings and the star people and all that sort of thing. And if you have watched my, if you're in my Trust Intuition group, you would have heard all about my experience with the celestial beings not too long ago, actually. And in that, it was like, you know, like with selenite coming to me in the article that I read this morning. I'm like, hey Tabitha, the article that I read this morning, which was shared to me, which is actually, someone channeled it after being put under hypnosis, and about this new earth, right? And it's like, you know, I just kind of read through the transcript, and, you know, it's all stuff that I'm kind of aware of, and, you know, our purpose and what we're doing here, and why we, you know, are choosing to be humans on this planet at the moment, and why we are creating what we're creating, why we're evolving like we're evolving. You know, we talk about fear and love all the time, you know, and choosing love and keeping it real so that we can feel, yeah. And, you know, if we, another thing that's just dropped in, if we, you know, are not feeling our full self, we're not going to have intuition. And it's not that we won't have it, but we are more connected when we're able to feel our whole body. So the whole essence of keeping it real is so that we can feel our whole self. And yes, if we're cut off from our head, we can be stuck in our ego. And I spoke about spiritual bypassing and stuff in depth on Monday. And, you know, yes, we can receive intuition from our claircognizance, which is, you know, the thoughts in our head. And they're very distinguishable from our ego thoughts as well. I don't even like using the word ego, but people know what I'm talking about, because I think we need to love our ego to death, basically. Ultimately, is how I feel about that. And so the article I read this morning, which was the transcript of this guy who's being under hypnosis and talking about a new earth, and I don't know, can you let me know if you guys have, like, just give me some hearts, or just comment yes if you have heard about the new earth and heard about you know, the big kind of destruction, so that, you know, a new earth can evolve, so that humanity can evolve to a higher level, which is kind of, it's already happening, right? I speak about this all the time, and I'm getting goosebumps saying this. And in the transcript that I read this morning, like, I read the whole friggin' thing. It's like a 2-hour video transcript. And at the bottom, the hypnosis guy was talking to the other guy, saying, and how did the selenite help you, or whatever like that. And I was just like, oh, fucking hell. Selenite's really making its presence known to me. And I guess, you know, talk about how to distinguish intuition from ego. It is, you know, it comes from a place of, you know, where it doesn't make logical sense. Most of the time it doesn't, like pretty much all the fucking time it doesn't make logical sense. You will get intuition and you'll be like, nah, I'll do this because it makes more logical sense. And then you'll be like, fuck, why didn't I listen to that? At its core, right? And the thing about trusting your intuition and truly stepping onto your life purpose and truly, you know, moving into a space of, you know, like, if you really want to step onto your life purpose, you need to trust your intuition and you need to follow it without this. You need to be 100% in your body and feeling, yes, you receive your intuition in 4 different ways. There's not just one, I get that. But it's like, you need to be able to trust yourself without this getting in the way. That is how you awaken your life purpose. That is how you step onto purpose. That, you know, our intuition and, you know, the reason that we're here and, you know, have that space is so that, you know, like, it's like you're going, you know, you're going along your path and you get intuition and it'll be like, no, go this way. And you'll be like, no, but this makes sense, or this is better. Right? And then it's like, you know, these little bits of intuition are so that we stay on this path rather than going over here and going off path if we're supposed to be going straight ahead. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Tammy. Selenite keeps coming for you too. Ah. Yeah, I definitely will pull a card for you, for sure. I'd love to pull a card for you. That's interesting because, yeah, like it says with that, yeah, I've got the 2 big selenite lamps next to my bed. on either side, and I've had them for years. Well, I've had one for years, and I just got another one to even it up not too long ago. So yeah, because it says here what I read before, but also it says one of the best ways to get this information is to do a little bit of automatic writing. Sit quietly with a pen in your hand, keep an open mind and listen. Write down whatever comes. It's best not to read what you're writing until read it later. So that's just channeling. Yawning can help loosen your throat chakra. So you're basically meditating writing. For sure, Frankie. And I'm just getting the message that if you're watching this live stream, take note of this, because I will share the link in the comments of the article that I read this morning, because I don't know, it's obviously come to me for a reason. The thing that jumped out was selenite, and I already know that I have a strong connection to the stars and the celestial beings and how big the friggin' universe is. I mean, like, my background screen on my phone is the universe. It has been for a long time. Or a big galaxy, or whatever you want to call it. So it says here too, selenite is a sacred stone to the Palladian star system, and they may be contacting you. Selenite is also powerfully connected to cats, so if you have one around you, it has a message. Their principal wisdoms are in the flame of love and heard through the heart. Sit, listen, and feel, which is pretty much all I've been talking about on both my live streams this morning. I'm just going to post that article link in the comments like now as I'm talking. Otherwise, I forget this stuff. Okay, and this was shared to me by Deanna. Okay, so there's a 2-hour video you can watch, but I read fairly quickly, so I just read the transcript. So I'm going to post that in the comments now. So if it's calling you is what I'm speaking about, you can do that. So if you haven't kind of watched or read, what's the book I'm thinking of? Like, Drunvalo Michel's deck is one of the most transformative books that I ever read. What is it? Ancient Flower of the Secret of Life. And his other one, Serpent of Light, which is about his journeys around the globe and what he was here to do. And I really, really resonated with him, and the star people as well. So, I don't know, do you guys know what realm you're from? Let's talk about realms. Ooh, I'm getting excited about this live stream. I'm going to pull a card for you as I'm talking. For some reason, the realms. Do you guys know which realm you're from? I wonder if there's a realm test. That'd be pretty cool. I'm going to have a look. Let me know if you know what realm you're from, or if you know what I'm talking about or not. Okay, so realms. I was wondering if this was still going to be available, actually. Oh, here's a video. I don't know, feeling called to put the realms in too. Maybe it's about finding, you know, what your homes are and stuff. The Storing Virtues realm video, I just put that in there too. If you don't know what realm you are, I highly recommend it. I know I'm like a mer angel, and a mer angel is like half mermaid, half angel. So I just fully resonate with that. If you haven't sussed out your realms, seriously go and yeah, do that. Alright, so this is for Tammy. 2 have fallen out. 2 have fallen out, Tammy. So this one is what I picked up first, the 5 of Fire. Competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. It's kind of what you've been going through. And King of Water, open your heart and mind to those around you, trustworthy and heartfelt work. Heartfelt advice, charity work. Open your heart and mind to those around you. I'm really getting that for yourself too. Open your heart to yourself. Yeah, I'm getting forgiveness around that. The cup is jumping out at me on there, which is the King of Water, and the cups, like holding the water. Oh, I've got goosebumps, like holding yourself, like, you know, loving and forgiving yourself. Really getting to open your heart to you. Almost feels like this is, not pointless, but I know there's been a lot of fires in the US and stuff and around the globe. And people were sad, obviously. Like, it's a big deal. I really get that. Fire's not cool, and the smoke and everything that goes along with that for everyone else. But out of the fire rises the phoenix. Yeah, I was really getting the phoenix message in the past few days. That full moon last night, and still in the energy of it, obviously, is like, it's bringing everything to light. And it's, you know, that, so the expansive nature of the full moon and showing you the light of everything, like, look, you being able to see everything. I always say that on every full moon. It's like, what you haven't been able to see is fucking shown to you on the full moon. And we've just, you know, finished the eclipse. I'm pretty sure Mercury is starting to go forward now, so it's like all this forward motion. So like whatever's been kind of held up, and that's what I was getting for you with this, Tammy, too. Like, it's like almost like that. It's like a raging fire for the last kind of section. And then this is like, open your heart and mind to those around you, trustworthy and heartfelt advice. It feels like, you know, like, yeah, open your heart and mind, but, you know, out of the fire, out of that, you know, out of the ashes comes that rejuvenation of the heart and all sorts of things. But be gentle with yourself, yeah, definitely. So the phoenix totally resonates, yeah, for sure. So Frankie says, oh my God, my real name is Phoenix, and I've just done a live stream against a phoenix. Ah, it's full moon for you there right now. That's awesome. What do you mean, a live stream against a phoenix? What do you mean by that, Frankie? I'd love to know more what you mean by that. All right, so I'm going to pull a card for you, Frankie. Oops. All right, so you have the Two of Water, so lots of water cards today. So the Two of Water is a relationship that continues to grow closer, forgiveness, the positive resolution of a conflict. Feels like a lot of heart healing there for yourself, and getting again forgiveness for yourself. So it's forgiveness. It just feels like you've come into a lot of acceptance of who you are, and you know what you. It feels like you're blooming into your heart or something like that, like from the inside out. And this is like relationship that continues to grow closer to the positive resolution of a conflict. It just feels like the internal conflict is kind of like had enough now, yeah? Someone paint sprayed on my bedroom wall without knowing it was my name. Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, the Phoenix is really strong at the moment. Hey, like, for a thing, I wonder if the Phoenix is even in the book. I don't know if it would be. Maybe it would be. No. But yeah, that's the, obviously we all know that, you know, Phoenix comes out of the fire, reborn. So yeah, that's interesting. The relationship that continues to grow closer, forgiveness, the positive resolution of a conflict. I'm wondering if you are in relationship with somebody, Frankie, too, because it just feels like there's been big changes for you. And yeah, I do know a little bit of your history, but with that, it's like the internal conflict has stopped. So everything around you is just starting to go, like it's starting to ripple out in that. And that kind of inner piece is just starting to go, oh, it's like that, like, oh, I don't have to hold it together anymore or something. Like just, you know, it's like, oh, you can just be you sort of thing is really the sense that I'm getting around that for you. So Frankie says, I'm starting a course, Manifesting Reality Using Christ Consciousness. I'm teaching it for free. Yay. So have forgiven myself enough to get out there. Ah, there we go. Sorry. And yeah, I really resonate with what you were sharing, Frankie. So yeah, please feel free to share the link in these comments on the live stream once you've got that up and running for sure. Because yeah, I fully resonate with Christ consciousness. I just got goosebumps saying that. So yeah, a relationship that continues to grow closer. It's just like that internal conflict is just not there anymore. It's just like, yeah, got it. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, goosebumps saying that. All right, so Narissa. Okay, yes, really, there's a hot guy upstairs. He moved in day after eclipse, spot on, everything as usual. Okay, cool. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like it's because of the internal shifts that you've had, you know, attracting that in is definitely what happens. Exactly what and why I teach that in Calling in Your Soulmate. Exactly that. All right. So this is for you, Narissa. Oh, 2 have just come out. I just went to put the deck back down and another one pulled out, and they're both the Earth cards. So Narissa, the 7 of Earth, says seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action, unnecessary worry. Yeah? Yeah, self-forgiveness big, yeah? It's a big one, so well done to that. So yeah, Narissa, seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action, unnecessary worry. This one, 6 of Earth, gifts of money, time or effort, new career opportunities, receiving a loan or paying off debts. Wondering if stuff's going on for you financially. Unnecessary worry, because it feels like, don't worry. Yeah? Gifts of money, time or effort, new career opportunities, receiving a loan or paying off debts. I'm wondering if you've been looking at new job stuff or direction. Feels like you've been questioning that. And I'm getting the message around worrying that you'll have enough finances to do what you want to do or change direction. And this message is yes, you will. Yeah? Is what it feels like there. New career opportunities. Just feels like a different direction. Yeah? So curious about that for you. But both Earth cards, so and like it said, you know, seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action, unnecessary worry. Like the seeds are already well planted, so don't stress about that. Yeah, which makes sense there in that way. Anyway, I've just started study, so that can enhance my income. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so it was like a different career direction or something like that. But yeah, it does feel like don't worry about the money, because it's all sorted. Yeah, it's like the tree's gonna grow anyway. Yeah, it's a big tree on that. The tree's gonna grow anyway. All right, well, yeah, and I guess I just wanted to say, you know, how to tell intuition from ego. And, you know, the biggest thing is, like, there's a very distinguishable difference between intuition and ego. And as I was saying earlier on this live stream, you know, it is, you know, like your intuition's always there, but it's a choice of when we listen to it. Yeah? Grow, tree, grow, yeah. Yeah, it's a definite, you know, choice of when we listen to it, what we listen to. And, you know, sometimes we'll get intuition and then we'll, you know, and then the intuition will change. So that can be confusing. And ultimately, as you know, when I do any card readings or everything that I teach, is like none of our tomorrows are set in stone. Yeah? Like nothing's set in stone. Everything that happens today and the things that you choose to do today create our tomorrows. Yeah? So when you get intuition and it might be saying, this is not good, go this way. And then the next day it'll be like, no, go back, you know, do this. And you'll be like, well, how come that, you know, and it's kind of like, well, ultimately every single body has a choice, yeah, about which direction they're going. And every single choice that somebody makes changes those directions, yeah? So it is just about constantly tuning in. And that's why, what does it say? It's good to have a plan, but don't worry if the plans change, or whatever that is. Because ultimately, you know, we are creating our reality. We are creating tomorrows. We're creating our destiny, yeah? And although life and earth and our soul's purpose and all that sort of shit, there's some kind of destiny alignment, right? But at the same time, we have a choice whether we're going to choose to fulfill that in this lifetime. Yeah? And that's why intuition changes, because especially with the people that come into our lives and move and change careers or jobs, or we don't like this anymore or whatever it is, ultimately we have a choice to stay there or we have a choice to change it. And that decision of whether to go this way or that way changes the entire reality and everyone around it. So the thing about trusting your intuition and telling the difference between intuition and ego is that when we are fully connected in our hearts, there are no mistakes. So we can kind of look back and go, oh, well, I wish I did that, or I wish I did that differently. But ultimately, we were doing exactly what we felt was right at the time, or we would have made a different choice. So we can look back and go, fuck, I wish I'd done that differently, or done that. But ultimately, you know, you probably would have done the same thing because that felt right at the time. And it's probably the number one thing that I say with my clients is, you know, like, don't beat yourself up, because if you knew what you know back, if you knew back then what you know now, you probably would have made different choices. But the thing is, you didn't. And you got to this point because you learned those along the way. So moving forward, it is about having the courage to continue to trust intuition. Trust your intuition about what feels right in the moment. And that moment changes. And that moment changes. And that moment changes. And the biggest thing that you can do, you know, how to tell intuition from ego, is like, well, ultimately, we can get intuition and then it's like, oh no, but that's a better way. Like, the simple thing was for me, what was it yesterday? Oh, I can't remember what it was. Like, just, it was something so little. I can't even remember what it was, but it was something like, I was just gonna, like, I had to get my car done and I picked it up and I was just gonna come home and work, and like, it was like, you know, go to the shop and get that stuff so it's out of the way. And I was like, oh, I just want to go and finish my work. I was like, no, I'll just go and finish my work and go to the shop later. But it was like, you know, that was the intuition to just go and get that stuff so it was done, so then I can come home and have a full workflow. And, you know, and I've started to listen to that more and more, just the little things like that. Because with this whole thing of, you know, trusting your intuition and, you know, like the ego in that instance is like, no, it's better to go and get my work done now and I'll come back and do that later. Whereas, you know, it was kind of on the way, intuitively, you know, it was just kind of flowed better. But my mind was like, no, that doesn't make sense, you know, like in a sense of like, no, I need to get this done, this is more important. Which ultimately maybe it was, but now I can just sit here for the next 3 days and not move because I've done that, which is ultimately what I want. So it is, you know, how to tell intuition from ego is like, if you get a feeling or a sense about something, even when it doesn't make logical sense, and you'd be like, oh no, I'll just go and do that. That's the ego. Yeah? Thinking you know better than what you're sensing. Yeah? Talking yourself out of that because it doesn't make logical sense. So the difference between your intuition and ego is that your intuition doesn't usually make logical sense. Yeah? Even when that thing makes more logical sense and it looks better and like, well, why wouldn't I? Yeah? But our intuition's just going, no, you need to do this. And so, well, no, I'm gonna fucking do that. This is more fun. Or this is better. But ultimately, when we're listening to the intuition and we follow that, even when it doesn't make logical sense, that ultimately is the fast track to our dreams. Whereas this is going off the radar. Yeah? So just tuning in with yourself in every single moment and catching yourself when you get a sense about something, or you get a thought, or you get, you know, and then you're like, catch it when you're like, nah, I'll go and do this. Yeah? That's my gift for you today, to check in with that. And I'm going to pull a liquid crystal card about the confirmation of that. Not confirmation, but just if there's a message about the intuition and ego. Moonstone. Funnily enough, we're on full moon. Mother Goddess. I probably couldn't get a more intuitive card. Like the moon being connected to intuition and feminine and intuition and moon and, you know, like all of that. Water, the whole thing. Just going to see what it says in here. There's one particular message. Oh, yeah. which is, if you caught the start of this live stream, I read out selenite, very similar message. If you caught my live stream about keeping it real before this live stream, just this morning when I did an interview, same message coming through today. Get out of your fucking head and get into your heart and feel, and do not be afraid of feeling. That was my message, not the books, not Moonstone. Moonstone says, don't label, think, act, or react, just feel. By doing this, one gains the ability to experience the cyclic nature of our world. Just as things arise, so they fall away, and we are able to surrender and be happy without attachment. So that is so much around, you know, if you didn't watch my live stream earlier on filming the activation of enlightenment, fear and love, whatever that, I can't remember the exact word. It's on my thing. It is about getting out of your head and feeling. It doesn't mean that we have to act on every single feeling that we get, but true mastery comes when we can not have that fear of feeling exactly what's going on, no matter how dark, no matter how anything, because we can put a label, which is exactly what Moonstone just said. Don't label, don't act, don't all that sort of thing. But ultimately, it's like we can dissipate anything by feeling it, consciously feeling it. Anything. I don't care how dark it is, because I've been there. You can put whatever label you want to call on it. Entity, I don't know, lost soul, whatever the fuck you want to put on it. I don't care what label you want to put on it. We can shift anything by feeling it consciously, dropping out of our head and into our heart, because our heart is love. And the more, and I talk about this in my Trusted Intuition course all the time, the more that we can drop out of our head and into our heart and consciously feel that, we're growing this muscle, we're strengthening this muscle, where, you know, it's like, and it is a muscle and it takes practice, and it's like training for a marathon, yeah? It's like you wouldn't just go and run a 10K marathon if you haven't done any training at all, right? It's like expanding into your heart, because when we expand our heart into whatever we're feeling and drop our mind into our heart and expand our heart dissipates anything. Why? Because love is the most powerful force on this entire universe system. Love is what is made up of. Now, if you just joined this live stream, I just shared an article I read this morning, which kind of confirms everything I've been teaching for however long I've been teaching it. You know, it's like this sense of, you know, having, you know, your heart expanding into a space, and it transforms the darkest of darkest of dark, because nothing can survive in love. And ultimately in the dark is love, because the darkness comes from love, because everything is created from love. So even the dark is love. You know, you can strip, what is that analogy that's come to mind again, is the gold Buddha, and they cover it up with the mud. You know, it's like underneath the darkness, underneath the mud is the gold, is the light. You know, it's everywhere. It's here. So have a go at trusting, and we'll have a go at becoming conscious when you get an intuitive feeling or sense to do something and you go, now I'm going to do it this way, because that's your ego. And then have a go that no matter how uncomfortable it feels, drop into your heart and feel. And if you haven't done that before and you start doing that, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be, you know, you might start crying, and that might be uncomfortable. You might never cried before. It's the most healing, fucking powerful thing you can do on the planet. Why? Because you're feeling. Feeling without judgment, by the way. Out of here, into here. So, I don't know, I've for some reason talked about that this morning. Selenite's really strong. The celestial beings are coming through really strong. I have a very strong connection to the star people. Would love to know if you guys do, or if you go and check out what realm you're in. I would love to hear what realm. I posted a link to how to tell what realm you're from. Like, I'm a mer angel, so half mermaid, half angel. If you haven't done or learnt about the realms, there's a link in the comments for the Doreen Virtue video. She's got books and stuff as well but it felt like a homecoming in that sense. So I would love to know where you resonate in the realms. And I've got the internal compass chakra clearing meditation. I'm going to put that in the link in the comments. That's just a free download. It's actually, you know, like there's three parts to that. It's all free. I just felt called to put that together yesterday. So the actual internal compass meditation, and then you've got the internal compass chakra clearing, so it actually goes through some chakra clears. And then I've actually got a free mini video training for you, so I'll post the link in the comments, and you can go and do that straight away, because the message around this whole live stream around how to tell intuition from ego, about why selenite's coming through, about why the celestial beings are coming through, about why more than ever right now it's more important to focus on love than getting stuck up here. Because, you know, like we are in a place of, you know, like crucial time, and it's accelerating. And, you know, the message that came through so strongly this morning, and I've been getting it myself to increase my meditation schedule, and it just kind of confirmed it with selenite. And then it was like, you know, like it's now more than ever the time to meditate. So, and then, you know, when I was getting ready this morning, I was like, fuck, that's all I fucking create is meditations. I don't know, I've probably got nearly 50 audio meditations that I've created. I've got so many more to just about create for calling in your soulmate. Like, I've got stacks, you know, and I'm like, oh, well, if I can teach to meditate, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So I'm going to put a link in the comments to the free meditations I've created there for your internal compass, because, you know, north, south, east, west, you know, is fairly tangible to, you know, be able to use, and, you know, the way that you can use that to clear not only your energy but the planets as well, because we have a responsibility to, you know, look after our planet, and that's coming through more than ever. You know, I don't really speak about that much, and I question that at times, but I don't, you know. And, you know, with that article that I read this morning, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I teach all that in my courses. So might put together the free little section out of Clearing Energy Blueprint too. Alright, I'm going to sort that out, because that's been on my mind, and after all that this morning I'm just like, okay, got the message. So I'll put that. I'll put the link in the comments to the internal compass. As you know, calling in your soulmate starts on the 21st of September. So if you think that is just about a relationship, it's about the relationship with yourself. Yes, we are looking at, you know, calling in your soulmate, but ultimately it's the relationship within yourself. And when you shift that within yourself, naturally your vibration shifts and you attract rather than have to grab. Yeah. And that's what we're doing. We're filling the hole, coming from whole, and allowing that to, you know, vibrate to you and showing you what else you need to look at, plus then being able to, you know, shift to the next level, the next level, next level. Plus, stepping onto your life purpose comes naturally when we do that, because we're working with the sacral chakra at the base chakra, which is just below it. As we come down into our body and feel safe to be in our body, we give birth to be our whole self, and that naturally aligns us with our life purpose. So I'll post the link in the comments to that as well. If you've got any questions, please check out the links on this live stream. And I look forward to Frankie sharing her Christ Consciousness course on here too. I friggin' love that. If you've got any questions, post in the comments. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Keep it really fucking real. Remember, be in your heart, not in your head. Lots of love. Namaste.